Okay, Earl, go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I see this.
Hi.
Thank you for sending in the information and a lot of the exchanges here. I did want to convey regarding this the screen time issue. Um, After the response from engineering was after further analysis, we just wanted to advise you that they found nothing to warrant further escalation or address. That is regarding the screen time issue. Okay, and it also asked to convey, the following that, Apple Care, and I know, I've mentioned this, but just want to mention to you, is that Apple Care is here for customers just, seeking support for their products, but it's important that we focus on real symptoms and not the investigative data uncovered by the customers that may be perceived as the culprit behind the symptoms exhibited. Because then it turns into doing an analysis of that data instead of just the symptoms. And so when we focus on the symptoms, they do have to be representative of behavior that's not expected behavior, as determined and referenced by published data that we have on the internet, online user guides and documentation, or even the help names on the devices within the operating system. And again, this makes our subsequent support interactions a lot more productive, and it streamlines things with engineering. And also, lastly, I am being reassigned to other customer Apple Care support tasks, so I won't be continuing with subsequent issues with you, and that's at the directive of management. It's not my decision. And so I wanted to kindly ask you, for further issues, you'll have to call in our general number, and any subsequent advisors will address, further issues accordingly.
All right. So let's start from the bottom. I Okay, what was the issue at hand that they were going to look at? It was screen time, correct?
Yes, and out of all the data that was submitted,
Okay, hold on.
including logs,
Okay, hold on. Hold on.
yep,
So, how many recordings were sent to engineering?
they had access to everything you supplied.
The 3 recordings. Yeah, so I uploaded 3 of them since we decided we're gonna do just screen time. I uploaded 3 screen time recordings, and the screen time recordings showed that screen time did not correctly show usage. Yes or no?
Their answer is that there's nothing found to warrant further escalation or address.
Okay. So that's the bottom line. That does not answer the
That's
question.
the bottom line.
Got it. Got that part. There's nothing to warrant further escalation. Got based on the issue of screen time.
That's correct.
All right. And I sent them recordings. Do you get a chance to look at the recordings?
Yeah, there was actually 53
What?
recordings and screenshots.
53? Oh no, maybe
Yes.
most of them are screenshots. But as it pertains specifically to screen time, because once we started to narrow that one, I started to record my screen time at midnight or just before midnight.
Yeah, so there was 53 total combination of screenshots and recordings and logs, capture logs. It's 53 items that were uploaded.
Oh.
And engineering had access to all of them, and all of them, I think except 1 or 2, had to do with screen time.
Okay. All right. So when you look at the recordings, I'm just thinking about the last 3 uploaded, the last recent 3 that uploaded in at the end of October. It was very clear, and I made notes on some of them, that screen time is not documenting properly, right? Because screen time does not show proper usage.
Yeah, is that a question, or are
Okay.
you making a statement
Well,
contrary to an engineering report?
No. Do you get a chance to look at the screenshots that I upload?
Yes, and part of my submission to engineering, and they make the final call, is, again, there was nothing found to warrant further escalation or address regarding screen time.
No, I get that. I'm used to that. That's okay. That part, there's nothing I can do about it. But if you got a chance to look at the screenshots, did you notice that the that screen time was not documenting properly?
It's not my call, it's engineering's call. So I reported what you have conveyed, and I submitted that to engineering, and again, they said there was nothing found to warrant further escalation or address.
All right, so just to clarify, you did get a chance to look at them, but you're not going to say if you found a problem or not. You were leaving it to engineering to make a decision, yes?
Well, part of my decision-making path is to escalate it to engineering, independent of what my perception is of the issue or the observation of the data. And then when they respond, that turns into my position on behalf of Apple.
Right. A couple of the things you had sent me, the first set of screenshots I had sent, they responded and saying there was no user private. And then I sent an email saying, yes, there is a user private. And look, I just turned on the Mac and it already has 107 active connections. I'm guessing those screenshots were sent to them as well?
Yes, they were.
And of course, the bottom line is that no problem.
That's correct.
Wow. All right, and now you are leaving because you had said to me specifically, don't go to different senior advisors, stick with one senior advisor because we had gone through the issue of people not responding, yes?
Yeah, so I handled a number of different issues with you.
Yes.
And now I'm being reassigned to other AppleCare tasks. And it's not always customer interfacing too. So any subsequent issues with any specific customer, and this happens, Sita, in this case we would kindly ask you to call in the general number and create new cases for those other specific issues.
I am just wondering if it was so obvious the problem with screen time. I mean, as a newbie, I could see the screen time was not showing proper documentation. And I have previous emails from senior advisor that says engineering is fully aware that screen time is a problem, but they see the same recordings and they're saying now there is no problem. I'm actually, well, I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not quite surprised, but I thought maybe things had changed.
Well, if you recall that one screenshot 13 private, system pref.png, and you mark that up saying, I'm sending the screenshot because screen time is part of system preferences, and system preferences is private, and private is the primary use on the Mac as per console messages. And if you recall, I went through engineering's response to that, but there's, they said there's an incorrect understanding of what's being looked at here. The appearance of private in the system logs is not a user, object, or other entity that means identifies anything. In fact, it is the exact opposite. The text private has replaced whatever the original text was to redact sensitive or personally identifiable information. Our logging system redacts a significant amount of data as part of our privacy policy, and as a result, you can't see the original log message. There is no user named private on your Mac, and the attempt to infer it meaning this and to use it as evidence is invalid. So that's basically the response. But they can't, and this is where we get down to see the, kind of trying to address every investigative point that you have so diligently tried to pursue to help resolve your perceived symptom. It's really important that in subsequent calls to advisors on further issues is that you just focus on the issue and just say, hey, listen, this is what I see on my screen. This is what I can't do on the Mac. And then submit that and let them gather all the information and let engineering respond to that instead of responding to all the console logs, all the activity monitor things, and because it just becomes very, unproductive that way as far as interfacing with engineering.
No, I absolutely hear you. And originally, I had sent you guys a lot of information, and then you said, no, break it down. Engineering really wants one issue at a time, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so then,
Well, there was one, and I don't mean to interrupt, but there was, the reason why that was requested in the beginning is because there was one issue, and it was privacy and security related. And so then once all that, abundance of information came under the privacy and security submission, and then I supplied, the response to that there is no breach on the system, there's nothing that warrants any privacy or security breach issue, then we continue to kind of have some back and forth, and subsequently my back and forth with engineering, and then that's when it came to say, hey, listen, there's an abundance of issues under that hierarchy. Let's start focusing on one issue at a time, and that's when we focused on screen time.
correct. And all of that is fine. So the point is, and we do agree that we were focused, the last set of things uploaded was focused on screen time. All right. And so when I sent those last 3 recordings, it was to show that screen time was not working, was not documenting properly. But bottom line is, engineering has come back to tell me there is no problem with screen time when it was so obvious there's a problem with screen time. And therein lies the issue. Why am I doing all this work, sending a PDF as well, which I worked many hours on? And the problem is so obvious, and I get a response of, nope, nothing to see here. And that is, I think, really the crux of the issue, because as you could see, based on screen time, it was a huge issue. But bottom line again, engineering says there's no problem, and I'm getting from you that you're moving on, find myself a new senior advisor, start from scratch again, just focus on the one issue. And if what I'm seeing is I'm seeing issues, send it to engineering, and they're saying, nope, no issue. What's the purpose of documenting more stuff?
Well, focus on the symptoms. Okay, so if something is inhibiting your work,
okay, pause. No, pause. But I did. I focused on screen time, was focused on the symptoms. Focused on the symptoms is sure that when it goes to screen time, downtime, some apps bypass downtime, some do not. I have no control of it. I don't have to set anything in downtime. It's already done for me. I don't have to do anything. It's already done. Okay, it's already preset and predetermined for me. Screen time does not show proper usage. It's been going on forever. That was clear, absolutely clear. To a newbie even, it's clear. But you're not, so I asked you the question, did you see, if you saw the screenshots, did you see anything wrong with screen time? But you're not answering that. You're referring back to engineering.
My position and my answer is defined by engineering.
Of course.
Because my perception is not the end result. It's engineering's analysis that is the end result. And again, there was nothing found to warrant further escalation or address.
Okay, last question. Do they just look at captured data, or do they actually look at the screenshots? Because that's 2 different things.
They look at everything.
Okay. All right. I guess this is a dead end for me. I'm stunned.
I think it's an answer from engineering at Apple. And so, this is not my opinion. This is engineering.
No, no,
And by the way,
yeah.
the initial privacy and security submission, that not only went to engineering, it got further escalated to a specialty group that handles privacy and security. And they did an analysis of everything and saw no security or privacy breaches
Okay, so
on your
when
system based on the logs and the submissions.
based on the logs and the submissions, so based on the logs, which I have I hold no trust in because the capture directories are constantly cleaned on the Mac. But we had lost a whole bunch of information previously because you remember that case that could not be found, right? The case number I gave you that could not be found.
Yes, that's correct. It's not a valid case number in our system.
Right. In that case number, it was documented that engineering confirms knowing that ScreenTime is now working properly on the same computer. This very same computer, same documentation. And now they're saying no problem. That's okay. Listen, it's out of your hands. I know it's out of your hands. I'm just saying what I know to be true, right? Because I documented it myself. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I regret that that transpired. But unfortunately, I can't comment on a non-existent case in our system, and so I can't respond to your comment other than to say I truly regret the disposition that that's creating. Because I did get the case number, I did run it up, I did refer to it, I tried to find it, and it's non-existent in our system.
All right. So let me ask you if this might help because I mentioned to you that I print things because there just a lot of things disappear from my Mac. So I did print because I have so many issues on the Mac. I did. I'm using a new Apple ID and not the old Apple ID, right? So the all the cases that pertain to the old Apple ID has been deleted. I got that, but I was given a number that if I ever want to bring these to or refer to these situations, I can use that number. So is that valid for Apple? Can I give you guys a number and you can bring up the all the cases and what has happened previously on this very computer?
Yeah, if you have previous cases, I would say the case, our case ending in 2.9, that's been closed as far as engineering is concerned. So you don't want to do another submission on the same case
Right.
for screen time. But if you have new cases and if you have a corresponding legacy case or historical case that can add information to that new case or your new issue, then yes, you could tell the next senior advisor, hey, can you please refer to this case because I have a lot of attachments there, and you might want to read some of that.
Okay, but hold on. But if you cannot find a case that which you've gone through already, how can they find it? An old case.
They cannot. I thought you were referring to another case, not the one that we can't find.
Well, the one that we cannot find, okay, you and I is fairly new. We're just after that third wipe. We're on wipe number 4. You did 3 wipes and I had a wipe previous to that. Okay, so we're on wipe number 4. But previous to wipe number 4, there's a whole history with this Mac, which one of the cases you cannot find. So I'm thinking those cases are lost, but I still have that number that I mentioned earlier. That if I don't know, it's a really long number, and I'm thinking if I provide that number, could somebody bring up the old cases, or are they all lost?
You'll have to address that with the subsequent advisors. All I know is that one case number that you gave me is not valid.
Okay. All right. All right. So be it then. If it's not valid, then I'm thinking if one is not valid, then maybe the rest. Might not be.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and I'd highly suggest to see that is that you may engage some sort of consultant or company that does an analysis of your Wi-Fi and the integrity and the security of your Wi-Fi network.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Well, you seem to have a very strong position that you have a privacy and security issue. All we can do is look at your Mac, your device, and the logs on that. And there's ways that consultants can monitor remotely some of the activity that takes place on your network. And so if you feel, we're not finding it on your Mac, possibly there could be a breach on your Wi-Fi network. And so there's ways to, do that are outside of Apple's scope, but within the scope of a consultant, a cybersecurity consultant.
Okay, thank you for that. So outside of me, and I'm gonna tell you, just ignore my opinion because I just want to base it on facts. Okay, whatever is happening on the Mac or not happening on the Mac, I want to base it on facts. And based on what you've seen with all the stuff uploaded, did you see a need for a consultant?
I'm saying you may want to consider that because that goes into a scope that is outside of our scope. Doing an analysis of your Wi-Fi network is not within our scope.
No, no.
So you may want to consider engaging a consultant to, consider that. It might be just a call, an exploratory call to pick their brain to see if they can, do analysis like that. Some cybersecurity expert. Sometimes they'll install an app on your computer to monitor all the ins and outs and activity, and they can do further analysis of that and take additional steps to help you with your Wi-Fi or other apps that you can install that are a third party on your Mac. So it's just something to consider.
Got it. All right, Earl. Thank you very much. Is there anything else?
No, that's it. And I'm sorry I won't be able to continue, supporting you on subsequent issues, but AppleCare is here for you as well as our senior staff. So I appreciate all your time, Sita, and again, we appreciate your support of Apple products, and have a good week.
You as well. Bye bye.